Hey, Diffuser fans, it's the Captain here with Matt Kiger from Diffuser, and we've got Scott Metzger from LaMP with us today. You might know Scott from Joe Russo's Almost Dead, and LaMP is Scott's other band that has really started to take off. And yes, this summer, Scott is going to do tour dates with JRad and other tour dates with LaMP. Scott Metzger, welcome. You are going to have a busy summer, man. Do you have two different equipment rigs?
There are two rigs, yes. It's going to be a busy year. I mean, I'll come in at between LaMP and JRad, I'll come in at like 115 gigs or something this year. And I've got two rigs. They're pretty similar to one another, but one lives with JRad and all of the JRad gear, which is sizable, you know. Yep. We've got a semi-truck that drives everything around for us. And then LaMP is a little more rugged, and we've got a van that everything lives in.
Scott, how much fun is that, kind of doing those two different vibes?
Oh, I feel incredibly lucky because, I feel like that both bands play at a very high level, and I feel very fortunate to be a part of both of them, and both of them sort of scratch two different musical itches, so to speak, that I have. I can show off two different sides of the musician in me.
That's fantastic. Matt, you saw LaMP not too long ago. Where'd you see them, and what were your takeaways?
I'll tell you what. I went to Garcia's at the Cap there, Scott, to check you guys out. I think it was a Tuesday night, and I will tell you that I was getting some like MMW vibes at the beginning, and then you the three of you, the synergy between the three of you just blew the roof off of that place. It was an intimate, weeknight at the Cap there at Garcia's. Talk about that. You were just starting to really get into touring pretty heavily, and then you launched into a really robust tour. So talk to us a little bit about that, about your upcoming tours.
Yeah, well, LaMP, we recorded a record in 2019, the three of us. We basically did one gig in 2018 and decided that we needed to follow up and that it was worth looking into further. And with everybody's busy schedules, that took a minute to get together again, and we recorded in 2019, and the record came out just in time for all of our industry basically to get shut down in early 2020 because of lockdowns at that point. So we actually had gigs on the books that we were really looking forward to doing, and everything got scrapped for us in early 2020. And then, Russ and Ray play in Trey Anastasio's band, and I play in Joe Russo's Almost Dead. So our schedules are very busy to begin with. So it took a minute for us to be able to line up our schedules to be able to give LaMP some much-deserved attention and get some gigs on the books. And that was in about 2022, I would say, that we were able to actually get, maybe 10 gigs in. 15 gigs in, and it's kind of just been on autopilot since, and the reaction has been way beyond any of our expectations that we could have expected. It's just been really, really lovely to see.
That's
to
great.
Go out and play a bunch of gigs, and packed houses everywhere.
And it started in 2018 in Burlington at Nectar's, if I'm correct in saying that, and it sounds like it was a packed house. And you knew you had something special there. How did that come together in 2018 where the three of you decided to do that gig at Nectar's?
Right. Well, it was a packed house. And it's kind of like, when you play in Burlington with Russ and Ray, it's kind of like playing with the mayor or something. Everybody up there knows those guys, and the whole town comes out. And the way the gig actually came about was our booking agent. We were all sharing a booking agent at the time, and a guy named Pat May, who still is our booking agent. He does us, and he does Billy Strings, and he's a fantastic guy, killer dude, and absolutely great at his job. And so because he was all three of our booking agents, even though the three of us weren't working together at the time, he knew all three of our schedules. So he actually found a weekend that the three of us weren't working, and he went ahead and booked a gig, and he said, you three are going to have a special connection. He just knew, and it turned out that he was right. And everybody there at that gig, the three of us included, I think, knew that there was something really special happening between the three of us. It was just, sometimes it's just easy when you play with musicians, even if you don't know the guys very well or whatever. Sometimes you just get on stage and you realize very quickly all of us are on the same page and this is going to work. And this was one of those cases, kind of to an extreme example.
You talked about, both bands kind of scratching different niches. Playing with LaMP, have you surprised yourself playing with LaMP? Have things come out of you? You're like, I've never done that before.
Sure, yeah. Well, in playing, actually in Portland, Maine, last weekend, I ended up having like a travel weekend that was like, it couldn't have been more difficult. I was playing with another group in Knoxville, Tennessee, with John Medeski and Nels Klein and Billy Martin, in a band that we have. We were playing the Big Ears Festival in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I live in Brooklyn, and it turned out that every flight getting out of New York was canceled
right.
to get to Knoxville, and I realized that the only way that I was going to make it was if I rented a car and drove myself.
Yep.
So I ended up driving the 13 hours to Knoxville, played the gig with those guys at Big Ears, which is an incredible festival, unbelievable. Then had to drive my... I'm going to get to LaMP at the end of this story. I promise. It's coming back to LaMP. I drove myself to Atlanta, where I got to the Atlanta airport at 5 o'clock in the morning because I had to play in Portland that night, where there was a 3.5-hour long security line. Mm. And, and I hadn't slept, and, I had to sit that out, amazingly. They didn't give me my jam band celebrity status, got me nowhere with the TSA agents. And, So I got on the plane and I got to Portland and basically just went to the club with no sleep and was frankly kind of concerned as to how I was going to be able to perform considering the like 48 hours that I had leading up to that. And man, as soon as the downbeat started, it was like something just took over. Which happens a lot as a musician. When you're really feeling it and you're really playing your best, I feel like you're almost not even involved. It just becomes an easy thing where you're sort of just listening and you basically don't feel like you're doing anything practically. It's just falling out of you. The music is just falling out of you. But after those 48 hours, to play to a sold-out show in Portland that night, it was so easy for me to play with Russ and Ray that night that it was shocking to me just how natural it was and what a pleasure it was. And I had expected it to be pretty grueling just because of the shape that I was in, but I could have played another 2 hours with those guys. And I think that to me, that tells me that there's something like really X factor and really special going on, because I know for a fact that not every gig that I do would have been gone down like that under those circumstances.
That's an incredible story right there from Scott. How at the end of the day, the power of music conquers all. Thanks to Matt Kiger from Diffuser. Thanks to one of the busiest men in music, Scott Metzger from LaMP. And thanks to you for listening and continuing to explore the past, present, and future of the coolest alternative, indie, jam, and rock music around right here on Diffuser.